Hello everybody and welcome back to Evospace. As always, I am Dor, and today we're going to go ahead and set up the uranium line so that we're actually able to make the fuel rods for that thing to go ahead and power our base just a little bit here to go ahead and kind of ease up on the coke that we need to be making. So this thing is going to be set up the same exact way that all the other lines are set up right now. We're going to be running aluminum still, and they're just going to go ahead and be set up the same exact way. The hammer, the washer, the macerator into the industrial separator, and then that's going to terminate into an assembler because that's what it needs to go into to go ahead and make the cell that we have, the fuel rod that we can actually make. Okay, and so with this thing running right now, we'll just have it going into chest. We don't have this thing automated in being made, so that's something we can automate. We just don't have a whole lot of stainless steel for it to just continuously run. So we can go ahead and put the empty ones into this, and then we can just go ahead and have it arm in and then pull out of that. And then I just need to go ahead and set the filters on these things, but we need to go ahead and let the stuff process through a little bit so that we're able to actually put the filters in place here. So I accidentally went ahead and put filter pumps on the ore washers here, so I had to go and swap those out for normal pumps, and now we should have some stuff in here to go ahead and set the filters at least. And we don't have any of the better tier stuff, but we do have the normal stuff that we can go ahead and put through this, so that can go on the bottom here to go ahead and filter that stuff out through the bottom. We can go ahead and put that in the macerator so it processes, and then in a minute here when it gets through this stuff here, we should have some stuff going in here that we should go ahead and have a filter going on that thing as well. And there's our first little bit of 238 dust, and that's going to go on the bottom here. It doesn't really matter because they're both terminating into the same little assembler, but we might as well just have it kind of separated out here at least. There's another little piece of it here, so we can put that here as well. That's going to filter that guy out. We can just go ahead and put this stuff into this for right now. And there's our first bit of 235 dust. So that's going to be the stuff that we need as well, mixing with the other stuff to go ahead and make the fuel rods. So we have that guy going. We need 3 more pieces, and then this will be all filtered up and ready to go. So actually, really quickly here, we're going to make a quick little change to this thing. If we take a look at the recipe here, we have a 5% chance of getting the 235 dust, and that's kind of what we need. We don't really mind the uranium gravel because that's going to be pretty much infinite due to the mining thing here. So what we're going to go ahead and do is add a trash can to this little conveyor belt here. That's going to go ahead and destroy the ore gravel. We don't really care because it's going to be grabbing before it goes into there regardless. It should fill up the macerators, and those should continue to run when they do need the ore gravel in them. And then the same thing is going to happen over here. We're going to take this little trash can and we're going to plop it on this line as well. That's going to destroy the 238 dust because that's going to be a little more frequent than the 235 dust. So now we should have 235 dust going into these guys, or at least these guys should run a chance of generating it now since they're going to be running constantly. So now all we got to do is sit back and wait for the thing to pop into here so we can add the filter to the rest of these guys. So this one has it, so we can add it to this guy here. That's good. And this one has one as well, so that's going to be the third one here. Let's go ahead and plop that there. Now we just need, I think this guy, was it this one? Yeah, this one just needs the uranium now. We should have some in here, right? I don't think it's going to use, it's used it already. Never mind. And actually, we just got one over into the final thing there, so we can go ahead and put the filter on this one here, and it should start pulling from it. And I think we had one in there, so I guess I could have just grabbed it from there. Oh well. And we should be good, right? This thing should be building up the uranium in here. I just want to make sure that it's actually grabbing it, so it isn't actually grabbing it. It's destroying one when they do fire off both at the same time here. So let's actually remove this guy. Let's add in one more conveyor belt and add in a arm for that so that we have 2 arms feeding it. And then we will go ahead and spin this thing around and destroy. Actually, let's run it out one more just in case. And that should do the trick here, right? We should have 2 arms feeding that thing continuously here, and it should be fine. And then we should have some of the fuel rods coming out. We do have 1 right now. So then what we can go ahead and do is punch a hole in the floor here, and we can run some heat piping into the main heat pipe on our little setup here. So we can go down a little bit here and just connect into the heat pipe to the side of us there. So I think this is level, right? Yeah, that's level. Okay, cool. So we can go ahead and punch our way out again, and we can go ahead and take the fuel rods that we have, select this recipe in the reactor here so that it burns those. We have 2 of them right now, so those should burn for a little while. We don't need a whole lot of heat right now in the system. If we wanted to, we can go turn off our coke lines, and then it'll run pretty much on this for a little bit. It won't be infinite because we need to have these fuel rods being made, but we'll have them in here for the time being. And when this stuff processes through and gives us the depleted stuff, we can go ahead and take that and put it through a separator. That's going to give us plutonium plutonium, and then we could take that and make a plutonium cell, and then with that one we can go ahead and craft it or burn it in the reactor here with a reflector cell and a thorium cell, and that's going to give us, depending on which recipe we go with, either the 3 or the 6, it's going to give us either 3 of the uranium cells back, or it's going to give us 6 of them, and this is the 233 stuff, and that's the stuff that burns at 2.1 megawatts, 1 megawatt, or 468 kilowatts, depending on how many of the fuel rods we put in there. So we might go ahead and work toward that. We're going to go ahead and have a couple of the depleted stuff in our inventory here as the stuff processes through. Again, we don't really need the heat right now because of our coal line, so this isn't really going to make that huge of a difference. It should kind of hold us over if we go ahead and plop down some of the titanium machines and stuff. In between episodes, I added in a hammer on the titanium here, the stainless steel, I believe. I think those are the only 2 I didn't have making into anything, but I have both of those terminating into just making a bunch of plates. We're up to 2,000 plates right now. I think these machines need some stuff to go ahead and run again. Yeah, we need coke in that guy, and that's why our titanium is grinded to a halt. Let me go ahead and grab some coke real quick, and that should go ahead and get that stuff up and running again, so that should be fine. We got our reactor kind of going. It kind of looks cool, right? It's all glowy and stuff. That's nice. There are different reactors now. We do have, I believe, fusion reactors. I think that's what this is, right? Fusion reactor? Which one's the one that we just got? Fusion reactor. Yeah, it's the new one. So I'm kind of curious what those look like. We do have the chips in there to go ahead and research it. So we're going to go ahead and trigger that to go. Actually, no, that's the quantum one. I don't think we have the quantum one. Yeah, we don't have the quantum one. This is the quantum one we need. Okay, let me actually trigger that to research. And then that's going to go ahead and process through. So while that's doing that, we're going to go ahead and grab some stainless steel real quick. And with our stainless steel here, we're going to make a couple of the terminals here. This is going to give us basically what we get when we click on an item here. Instead of having to right click on it, we can just have it up on a little monitor. And for right now, we only have the stainless steel variant, so we're just going to use that one for right now until we unlock the better ones. And then we're going to go ahead and grab a bunch of titanium here, and with all that titanium, we're going to try and make one of the titanium quantum computers, because that's new and I don't know exactly what that does, but it's pretty pricey. It's 5 of those circuits per computer, so we need 120 of those circuits, and I don't know if we have that, honestly. So I'm gonna go check my my little making thing over here, and yeah, we have more than enough of those circuits. Okay, so we should be able to make one of those. We need some electric cable. Let me grab that really quick, and we should be able to go ahead and just set that into motion here. And that's not enough circuits. 30, 40. That should be enough of the cables, right? Oh, we need glass. We need glass to go ahead and craft that. My bad. I do have glass being made. We have it over here, taking the sand from the silicon line, so we should be good there. Let me go ahead and do that. We have enough to make 2 of them. We're just going to make one because I'm not quite sure what it does, and I don't want to waste a bunch of resources if they're just going to do what these guys do. So we'll leave those to craft up. I'm going to go ahead and put the titanium and stuff away. And really quickly here, while we go ahead and see what that new little computer thing does, we can actually make some of the quantum processors here. So it's just these guys mixed together, so it's 2 to 1, and so we should have enough to make, that looks like 60 of them, so we should be kind of okay there. We should be able to go ahead and get something researched as long as it's not requiring too many of those little chips to make it. So actually with this quantum computer, I don't know how we actually use it because it has like a big hitbox on it. We can't plug it into the power cable. If we place it there and try and drag a cable to it, we can't. So I'm not too sure. It looks just like a normal computer and it has a power outlet on the back, but it doesn't give me a description of anything like we need to build a multi-structure or anything like that. So I'm not too sure. Maybe we just have a bunch of normal computers and we plug that into them and then it works. I'm not too sure on how that works exactly. So I guess what we'll end up doing is just going ahead and building the industrial steam turbine and the industrial boiler really quick. So in order to do that, we need to get our titanium again, and we need some of those circuits that we have over here in the chest so then we can go ahead and craft this stuff. We don't need a whole lot of them, and we don't have any of them. We actually just spent them all on these processors, so we can't actually make those 2 items just yet. We should have some of that rare earth metal stuff over in the chest in this guy, so let me grab that so at least we can get some of those circuits running again. So what we can go ahead and do is plop down a terminal here that's going to plug into our power cable. We'll end up moving this later eventually, and so that way we can kind of see at a glance if we're okay on power or if we are draining faster than we are actually producing it. And right now we should be fine because we have everything on aluminum and our power production is on stainless steel, so we're a power tier above what we're actually using, so we should be fine on the power thing there. So same thing goes with our heat pipe here. We can plop a terminal there and it's going to give us the same information as the other one, except it's the heat that we have generating. And then I guess we can go ahead and put down one on the water line over here to see how much water we're actually producing. I went a little overboard with the aluminum pumps. We have, I think, like 120 something down here. Each row is 32, so each double there is 64, and I think we have just about all 3 rows filled in, if not all 3 rows filled in. Yeah, all 3 rows are indeed filled in, so we have a lot of water coming through the line already. I don't think that's something we need to worry about for a little while here, unless we have something that just drains a ton of water. So we need this thing facing that way, and there we go. We have water showing up on this, but it's just about as useless as right-clicking on this thing because all we see is a bunch of lines. It's not actually telling us like a constant stream of water coming in and out. So I think we'll just go ahead and bring that one back up there with us. I don't want to waste that on the water line there. But anyways, let's go ahead and put the circuits into our computers here so that we're able to research the next thing. And I'm going to go ahead and research the fusion reactor here. I don't know what we're going to use this for, but we can go ahead and research it. We can't actually craft it just yet because that's hard metal and we don't have hard metal in production currently. So that's going to take a little while longer here. And hopefully now that we've spent a few minutes here, these circuits are hopefully ready to go. We don't need a whole lot of them. We need like 6, I think. And we do indeed have some circuits. So let me go ahead and see if we have enough of those to go ahead and craft up the industrial things that we wanted to make there. So now that our fusion reactor is done being researched, we can go ahead and click on it, and it looks like we only use it to make neutronium. So we need to go ahead and start making hard metals so that we can go ahead and make the final metal of the game here. So we need to go ahead and make hard metal dust, and we get the hard metal dust by mixing together tungsten carbide and cobalt, and we get tungsten carbide by mixing tungsten and coke, and we get tungsten by mixing tungsten oxide and hydrogen, and we get tungsten oxide by breaking down granite in a industrial smelter or industrial separator. So if we go ahead and click on one of these guys, can we auto pull granite from the ground here? We can indeed. Oh, that's probably the easiest line we'll probably end up setting up. Holy smokes, I didn't know you can do that. So that's a relatively simple line. We can go ahead and probably get the beginnings of that started today. We have the industrial steam engine and the industrial boiler, so we can go ahead and plop these guys down and see what they look like. This guy's pretty huge, and it looks like, let me turn the X button on. We have an electrical output and we have a liquid input, so it produces 1.7 megawatts of power. That's pretty good. And we have the industrial boiler here. This thing's huge as well, so we can plop that there for right now. It looks like a giant engine. That looks pretty cool. So this guy consumes a bunch of energy. It produces a decent amount of energy. I think that's steam energy though, and it looks like it consumes 3 M of water, so I think that's 3 million things of water. I could be wrong, but I don't think we produce that right now, so this might not be a thing we can run currently in our current setup. But let's go ahead and set some lines up really quick. I think we have some more aluminum mines laying around. We can go ahead and set the hard metal in motion at least. Initially, the thing is over here now. I moved it because our uranium line took its spot. So luckily, this is one of those lines that doesn't really matter where we put it because it's just going to be mining stone, so we can go ahead and just place it here. We'll go ahead and drag it in. I think 1, right? And that should give us the room to go ahead and plop the little flywheel behind there. And then we can go ahead and set the granite as the production thing here. We can go ahead and run this guy over a little bit there. We're going to place down 4 of the industrial separators to go ahead and hopefully break this stuff down a little faster than what we're doing right now with the rest of our stuff here at least. And that way we can go ahead and have some hard metal at least in production before we call it an episode. So we can go ahead and place the inputs here so that they're in the middle with the rest of the stuff, and take that guy out. Do I need to set the recipe? I do not. And the only thing this is going to be producing is the tungsten stuff, so we don't need a whole lot of filter arms and stuff like that. So then we need the tungsten that these are going to be producing going into chemical reactors, so we'll have them right here, and then on the bottom we'll go ahead and pull the hydrogen into them because we need hydrogen going into them to make the tungsten dust. And then we need the stuff that's producing to go into another chemical reactor, so that can go ahead and just hang out right next to these ones, and I need to pick that one back up, so let me do that. And it should just go right about here. And then we need this one making the next step, which is taking that stuff and mixing it with coke, and that should be that line pretty much set up. And then we need that going into a mixer with some cobalt, and we should be able to go ahead and place it right here. That should be fine. And we need it going into this guy here, so these guys can go ahead and just push right into the machine here. So that should be the end of the tungsten line here. We just need to go ahead and put down some of the atmospheric condensers. We're going to put those underground here to go ahead and feed these things the hydrogen that they need. And then all we need to go ahead and do next is set up the cobalt line, which is also going to be using hydrogen, but we go ahead and make that by having the iron and the sulfuric acid in a chemical bath being made into the cobalt oxide stuff. So we have a bunch of the sulfuric acid stuff over here, and all we need to go ahead and do is plop down a chemical bath so that we are able to go ahead and feed off of the sulfuric acid here as well. So we just go ahead and set that guy in motion. We'll have this stuff terminating into chest as well, and then with this guy here we can go ahead and just have a pump feeding into this guy like so, and that's the sulfuric acid being fed into that. And then we need to go ahead and connect in our flywheel, and then let me grab a chest and get some of the iron ready to go so we can actually have that thing up and running too. And while I go ahead and do that, I'm going to go ahead and plug all this stuff in as well really quick. So we have a little bit of tungsten waiting for us in our mixer here, so we can go ahead and add a little bit of cobalt that we have. I don't know if 2 is enough to go ahead and get this thing running. It is indeed. So that's going to go ahead and give us our first little bit of hard metal here, and then we can take that and throw it in our industrial smelter over there. We are definitely going to need more than 4 of the atmospheric condensers. This isn't actually producing all that much hydrogen for us, so we're probably going to have to double or triple that to go ahead and meet the demand that we have right now. But for right now, it's fine to go ahead and keep things rolling a little bit here. So we can take our first initial 5 here and wander on over toward our industrial smelter, and hopefully we can go ahead and set this in here. So I don't think we have anything in there right now. Let me just go ahead and turn the arm here so that it doesn't put anything in there, and we should be able to go ahead and select this guy. We can indeed, but I think we need the we need the freezer first. So let's go ahead and just have this stuff processed through at least so that we have 5 of these ingots ready to go, and then we can go ahead and grab our titanium again, and we should be able to go ahead and craft a freezer. Yeah, we can. Okay, cool. So let me go ahead and craft that up. It's relatively cheap. It's just 4 plates for 1. And then we need to go ahead and feed it kinetic, but it also produces heat. So that's something we need to deal with to go ahead and have it keep running here. So let's see. Where do we want to go ahead and put this for right now? Let's just go ahead and smack it somewhere over here, I guess, and just plug it into our heat line so we can drain it. Okay, actually, with this guy placed down, we're not going to feed this into our heat line, right? We have radiators available to us. So what we're going to go ahead and do is make one of those. In order to make it, I think we need the constructor. And we do indeed. So all we need to do is plop 4 of these guys in there. That's going to go ahead and give us 1 radiator. And all this is going to go ahead and do is eat the heat basically and not use it for anything. So we can go ahead and just plop this guy here, and that should be fine, and we should be good to go there, I think. And then we can go ahead and set this guy as that, and then we take the ingots out of this guy, and we should just be able to go ahead and plop those in here. Those will cool down, and then we should be able to go ahead and take those out with an arm and just go ahead and do that. And we can go ahead and feed into it eventually when we get that stuff rolling. But there we go. There's our first hard metal ingot. And with that, we can go ahead and turn it back into dust if we want to go that route for some reason. And then we can go ahead and turn it into ingots or turn it into plates and stuff, and then start making the things that we need. So in order to make that fusion reactor, we need a total of 140 hard metal. So that's something that's not going to happen right now. That's going to take quite a while to go ahead and actually get up and going here. So I guess we can go ahead and just set this back to making titanium for the time being. We'll go ahead and make another one of these smelters to go ahead and process the hard metal stuff so we don't have to turn off the titanium stuff. So I think that's actually going to go ahead and be it for today's episode. We have a little bit of the hard metal being made. We're going to have to go ahead and set one of these industrial smelters up in between episodes, so that way it's actually running and producing the hard metal and not relying on us to go ahead and move things around too much with our hands. I'm probably going to scooch the freezer on over there in the line with that stuff, so it's just constantly running, hopefully. But I think for right now, that's going to go ahead and be it for today's episode. So hope you guys enjoyed as always, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.